What are some moments in movies that made you go, it doesn't work like that? Rolling out of a speeding car. NA man, you're about to look like you made out with a cheese grater. My dad was a pipe engineer for 35 years. Every time he watches the Titanic, when Jack is handcuffed to the pipe, he has to point out to everyone in the room how the curved elbow pipe in the shot didn't exist at the time. The correct setup should have been two straight pieces soldered together to make a corner pipe. I love him and his obscure dad facts. Edit. I just showed this to my dad. He's not familiar with Reddit, but he appreciates the love. Here's one you can give back to him. In Back to the Future, when Marty plays with the band at the dance in 1955, he's playing a Gibson 345, which didn't come out until 1958. Almost any scene involving someone being shot or stabbed. As a cop, I've dealt with many stabbing victims. People don't just drop like sacks of potatoes when they are stabbed or have their throat slit. I once had to respond to an incident where two guys got into a knife fight. Ended up having to help keep pressure on wounds as we waited for paramedics, and he pulled through. His neck was wide open, and he had 23 punctures in his abdomen and arms, but he was still energetic and down to fight. When it comes to gunshots, you're not going to instantly drop unless something vital is hit: heart, brain, ECT. Makes me laugh a little when watching movies and bad guys drop dead when they are shot or cut in any way by the good guys. A sling will fix anything. Pretty much any scene that involves biologists. Look, the DNA is a perfect match, as the computer superimposes two identical graphics that are basically just a symbol for DNA. And the fact that it takes them a few seconds to get the results. Prometheus was an offender. Their DNA sequence is identical to ours. Dude, they are 2-3 meters tall, blue, bald bodybuilders. Their genome cannot be identical to ours. People in movies being scientists, meaning they are good at all forms of science, biology, electrical engineering, physics, programming, communication protocols, advanced mathematics, hacking, robotics. Sure, you could have some knowledge in all of those fields, but specializing in just one of them takes decades. These characters are usually wizards in all fields. Avalanches, particularly when someone gets buried and then just bursts out of the snow unharmed. Avalanche debris sets like concrete, you're not getting out without help. And most deaths, injuries occur from being bashed up during the slide, so you're not likely to emerge unscathed if it's big enough to bury you. A fight, trauma occurs from terrain traps, not necessarily the size. In NA more deaths are from trauma, whereas in Europe, where above tree-lined terrain is much more accessible, fatalities are typically deep burials. Also, sound triggering avalanches is a big one. Crawling through air ducts. Most aren't that big. Or they aren't that strong to not bend or break at all. Edit. Yes, they are also incredibly filthy. I have taken out enough duct work to know that you could almost create another person with how many skin cells end up in your air ducts. I also am not doubting the strength of the large threaded supports some ductwork has. I'm doubting the strength of the 20-gauge metal to not end bend in the slightest under the weight of a full-grown man. Aren't they full of screws and other sharp jabby bits too? 'Cause, why no, they aren't designed for crawling through, so you can just anchor shit anywhere. Pumping the shotgun every time you mean business. You're just ejecting fresh shells onto the floor. Especially when it's a break-action double-barrel shotgun. 90% of the depictions of women going into labor. It's rarely, mom feels fine all day, suddenly has one sharp contraction, water immediately breaks and makes a puddle on the floor. Everyone I know who's given birth has had at least a few hours contracting before the water breaking, if it breaks at all, and then it can be even longer before you're in active labor. I'm a labor doula. Was looking for this answer. Most of the time the water doesn't break until the pushing phase. Add to that, movies portray mom feeling fine all day, has sudden sharp contraction, and then everyone is freaking out to rush her to the hospital. First, you shouldn't do this. Second, most hospitals are just going to send you home. Labor is generally a long process. There are exceptions. But, especially for first-time moms, it is going to be a long while. There is no reason to rush to the hospital. And early labor, the contractions are bearable and mom can go about her day as she has them. She isn't being stopped in her tracks as she has them and moaning and groaning with each one. That comes later. Labor in movies and on TV is ridiculous. I've been in IT for 35 years, so damn near every movie that has any tech in it has some stupid shit. It's even more irksome when they could have been accurate, but didn't. An explosion nearby and everyone talks and hears fine. I love that scene in The Other Guys about this. Goddammit tinnitus, you're a cruel mistress. On a related note, when people are blown back by an extremely close explosion and just walk away afterward. Yeah, no, the changes in pressure are going to cause organ hemorrhage and rupture, your lungs are going to pop and your bowels will spill open. There is no cleaning up before or after sex. Everyone is just ready to go all the time. Yeah, we can do it, but I just put clean sheets on the bed. Okay, I'll grab a towel. Not one of the blue ones, those are the good ones. I know, but they are the most absorbent, true. Okay, just get whatever is handy. And a couple glasses of ice water. Good thinking, I'm always thirsty after. Hey, looks like we're out of frozen chicken nuggets, can you put those on the list? Sure, okay, here I am, ready for sexy time. Where is the towel? BAH shit. I left it in the kitchen, you better be naked when I get back. Alright, sexy time. Hey, the baby is starting to cry, should we stop and get her? No, this is our sexy time. Let's keep going and I'll just sing to her on the monitor until we finish. Yeah, I guess that could work. This is the movie scene I want to see. To add to this comment, what are supposed to be virgins having sex for the first time? Each fucking time, penetration gasp of ecstasy and they automatically just good at it, no awkwardness at all. Like what? Our hero is beaten, stabbed and shot. Next scene he wakes up bandaged in the hospital. Within seconds, he yanks out all the tubes and wires, jumps out of bed, finds his, suddenly clean, clothes, and rushes out to continue his quest. In the next scene he's full of energy as he pursues his foe, and while his face may have a single scratch or bandaged cut, usually above one eye, there's no sign of what would ordinarily be a yellow-purple swollen pulpy mess with blood-red eyes. There's an episode of the Rewatchables podcast about Die Hard and they have a brief funny conversation along the lines of, okay, movie's over, John McClane is taken to the hospital. What are his injuries? In Interstellar when they have combines running through a field of green corn. They spent a ton of time getting little details of astrophysics right, then fell flat on their face in the depiction of farming. And the best part is, I read somewhere that they actually did grow and harvest that corn to pay for some costs of the movie, so it's not like they didn't know how harvesting actually works. Every time they perform CPR in a movie. Bonus points if the victim wakes up immediately and is totally fine and talking. 5 seconds of chest compressions, oh no, it's not working, crying face, stops chest compressions, victim looks really dead, BLLLLLURF, water vomit, geezer, eyes open, etc., weeping, hugging, bar fest reunion. Similarly, someone is knocked out and stays knocked out while the bad guy escapes. Then they wake right up when somebody from their team shows up and says their name a couple times. It's always a pet peeve of mine when in movies, they're working on a computer and the thing is constantly chirping and beeping with some kind of dumb sci-fi looking interface to it. Like dude, we all have computers now. We all know software doesn't do that, and if it did it would be annoying as hell. I've even seen scenes, can't remember which movies, where they're clearly using Photoshop or something similar and it's constantly making little sci-fi noises. Or the classic Hackerman. 5 seconds of rapidly pressing random keys, typing something that's not even into any kind of input, pop-ups appearing faster than the human eye can follow, I'm in. All the movies with science babble in them. Or tech babble. All of them. At least it's pretty funny. Just stick dark energy, or quantum physics, somewhere. The quantum dark energy is spreading to his ass. Hacking is babbling about, I'm in, and you always have to trace the source, I'm pretty sure. I'm in his hentai collection, tracing the sources now. But what if we reverse the polarity? Grizzly old cop. Can we trace the suspect's phone, computer? Geeky tech kid. Well, that depends. We can run a quadratic bypass algorithm on the main heterostatic coupling circuit, unless he's using a thermonuclear delay device on his analog frontline diode, then we'd have to try fracturing his digital fragmentation drive with a gigawatt optic triangulator. God fucking damn it, kid. I don't care about this electronics bullshit. Just give me a straight fucking answer in English. You keep him online, we'll do our best, okay? I watched a movie once where geologists ignored signs of a massive natural disaster, blaming it on sensors. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like real scientists don't hesitate to double-check edit. Seems like scientists ignore sensors in a lot of movies. Dante's Peak, The Day After Tomorrow, Spider-Man, and 2012. I'm specifically talking about the wave. If they don't trust their senses, why use them? Any CPR scene ever. After 10 seconds of barely any depth to the compression and slow CPR, the person is revived. It's a miracle. Which, it would be. When a baby is born and it's a beautiful, squeaky clean 3 to 6 month old twice the size of a newborn. They are tiny, goo-covered, swollen purple aliens IRL. There's an episode of Royal Pains where a girl gives birth and this child they decided to be the newborn is, I swear, literally a toddler. It's so bad I can't even be angry, it's just hilarious. Edit. It's season 7 episode 8, I'm having trouble finding a clip though. I give this one a pass though. I mean, where you going to get someone to actually volunteer their newborn to be in a movie? Edit. Yes, I realize now there would be plenty of people who would volunteer their newborn for this, but that doesn't mean it's safe or ethical for the child. I think it's much better we just suspend belief with an older infant used in film and TV. When someone cocks the hammer on a Glock. Also the racking the pump-action shotgun after pointing at your enemy and talking for a while. Wait, it was T-loaded the whole time. There was a scene in the G.I. Joe Cobra movie where they torpedo icebergs, and then they sank. Yeah, ice doesn't change its density to be heavier than water just because explosions. I have the perfect scientific explanation for this. That movie sucked. When they pull the fire alarm, and the sprinklers set off. When a lighter sets a sprinkler off, it will, and all the heads go off. Each head is independent of all others, and set off by heat. Can also be set off by running into it with a scissor lift, cough cough, looking at you drywallers. Also, the water that does come out is disgusting. I got sprayed by one of these once when the chem lab in my high school had a Bunsen burner accident. Everyone was fine. It smelled like old musty well water and took a few showers to get that stank out. The water for these systems sits stagnant for bloody ages. It isn't nice clean water. When hackers just spam random letters to hack. Open command prompt, change color to green, random prompts hacking. Asterisk hacking noises, I'm in. 5 seconds of keyboard clicking. I'm in. Now we have access to all the super secret classified government files and can control anything that runs on electricity anywhere in the world. Back in the day the N64 game Perfect Dark had a website and code that let you hack into the system to get top secret classified government information. Well, I went to the website and put the code in. It takes you to the game site, but up in the top corner it gave an alert message saying something along the lines of hacker detected tracking location. Immediately turned the computer off and ran to my parents crying, saying the police were coming to arrest me, and it took quite a bit of time to explain what happened. It was just the silly gaming website. Have never lived that one down. ... Okay, bye. I'm pretty sure my toaster was hacked though. I think all the metal connected to the Wi-Fi. Before I knew it my breakfast was toast. Sad face. One that always gets me is when medical professionals shock a flatline heart rhythm. It doesn't seem to matter what caused them to flatline either, it's straight to the defib. Like guys, it's designed to stop the heart, with the hopes it will restart with a normal rhythm. It doesn't start a stopped heart, they would use drugs like adrenaline, I assume, not a doctor, and use CPR, for any other reason. Basically any time they show lab work being done. They either don't wear PPE, or they do wear it but don't wear it properly, or for the right things. Food, beverage, chewing gum in a lab is a big no. If some character in a drama TV show walked into my lab demanding results, the first thing I'd do is give them safety glasses. Anytime someone is wearing rubber, latex, nitrile gloves that are way too big, especially when dexterity is important. They could just flap their hand and it would fly off. It's useless. Drives me nuts. My dad works in a lab, and another thing I noticed is the lighting. In crime procedurals the lab has moody dark lighting, which is never the case. If anything it's unflattering, bright fluorescent lighting. Frantically shouting, "Taxi!" while hailing a cab. I heard a woman do that the other day and it shocked me because no one ever actually says that out loud like that. The protagonists and antagonists fighting on the streets and not giving a shit about thousands of people dying while the cars explodes and buildings falls. Prepare for your doom, generic man. Wait. There are civilians here, let's evacuate them first. Shit, you're right. The extent that people can get punched in the face and just keep going. No one is having Jason Bourne-style fights and able to keep going for as long as they all do. Jack Bauer. Dead for 4 minutes. Jumping rooftop to rooftop 17 minutes later. Even if you're blocking, dodging every hit, just throwing punches for more than 30 seconds in a row is exhausting without conditioning. Real fights wouldn't end with a cocky one-liner, the winner is going to be gasping for breath and probably only slightly less hurt than the loser. It always takes me out of the movie when say someone will be like, "You'll never believe what's on the news." Put it on. The TV is off, they turn the TV on, and it's on the exact station of said news crew, at the exact moment they're talking about said topic. That's not how it works. And it could be anything. Not just news. They turn on the TV and it just so happens to be on what they're looking for. Just a small aspect of television, movies that takes me out of it and I'm always like, that's not how this works. Lol. The real scene should be, "You'll never believe the news," then everyone pulls out their own phone and searches social media and or Google for whatever small grain of information the instigator can give them.